Hey Steelers Nation, great to have you all back for another deep dive into everything black and gold. The season has reached that point where we can pause for a second, take a breath, and look at where this team really stands. 5 wins, 3 losses, heading out to Los Angeles, and even though the NFL schedule doesn't split evenly anymore with 17 games, this matchup feels like that midpoint check-in moment. It's that time when we start to see what's real, what's developing, and what still needs work. And more than anything, it's a perfect chance to talk about the 2025 rookie class and how these young guys are shaping the team's future. Let's rewind the tape all the way to the bottom of the draft. Dante Kent, the corner who came in as the second pick of the 7th round, hasn't had the start anyone was hoping for. A right ankle injury landed him on injured reserve back in August, and the team hasn't activated him yet. That decision alone says a lot. It's not that they don't believe in him. It's that they clearly see him as part of the long-term plan, not a short-term fix. And that's okay. Before the injury, he made a strong impression in Latrobe, flashing real speed and instincts that suggest there's potential there. He's the kind of player who could develop into a solid coverage guy with time, the type you build around quietly while everyone else focuses on the stars. His moment isn't now, but it's coming. Then there's Carson Bruner, the other 7th-round selection, son of former tight end Mark Bruner. He's been exactly what the team expected when they drafted him, a special teams grinder. He's tough, disciplined, and gives every rep his full throttle. The early splash plays he made in coverage haven't been as frequent lately, but he's steady, reliable, and looks like someone who could carve out a long-term role in this unit. You can tell when a guy loves the dirty work, and Bruner absolutely does. He's one of those names fans might not talk about much, but coaches notice because every good team needs players who embrace those roles. Now, let's talk about Will Howard. Steelers fans already adore him, even though he hasn't taken a single meaningful snap yet. The hype was real when he arrived, but fate had other plans. A finger injury in the preseason sidelined him, and he's been playing catch-up ever since. He's back at practice now, healthy and ready, but the reality is that if 2 quarterbacks went down, Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, it would probably be Skylar Thompson getting the nod before Howard. That's not an indictment on the rookie. It's just the situation. He missed valuable reps, and you can't fake experience in this league. But next summer, the door opens again. He'll have a full offseason to compete, to prove that he belongs, and to show why the team was so excited about him in the first place. The kid has talent. What he needs now is time and patience. 5th-round pick you black is a different story. There's a sense of mild disappointment, but not because of his effort, because of how little he's been used. He came in as a big body who could plug gaps, stop the run, and make life miserable for offensive linemen. On paper, he fit exactly what this defense needed, but the snap counts just haven't gone up. That's not all on him, though. Part of it has to do with the rotation on the defensive line and how coaches are managing reps for the veterans. Still, it feels like Black has the tools to make more of an impact than he's been allowed to. You just want to see him seize a role and make it stick. The talent's there. Now he needs the chance. 4th-rounder Jack Sawyer is fresh off the biggest play of his young career, a beautiful interception against Indianapolis. All the edge rushers were eating that day, but Sawyer's moment stood out. Plays like that build trust with the coaching staff, the kind of trust that earns you more snaps and more freedom within the rotation. I'll admit, I was skeptical when his name was called back in April. Maybe that's because, as Steelers fans, we've been spoiled at the edge position for so long. We've grown accustomed to explosive pass rushers who live in the backfield. But Sawyer is showing steady growth. He's learning the position, holding his own, and proving that even if he's not a headline guy yet, he can contribute meaningfully. That interception wasn't just a highlight. It was a sign of progress. Now, 3rd-round pick Caleb Johnson. This one's fascinating. He's easily one of the most intriguing players in the rookie class, not just for his skills, but for his mindset. Coming out of Iowa, Johnson was the offense. Everything went through him. He carried the ball, carried the team, and carried that identity with him into the NFL. But here, he's had to adjust. Sharing snaps with Jaylen Warren and Kenny Gainwell hasn't been easy. Early in the season, you could sense a bit of frustration, not attitude, just that internal realization that for the first time in a long time, he wasn't the guy. But give him credit, he's adapted. He's learning to value every touch, every chance to show what he can do. And when he finally gets the ball, he makes it count. That 4-yard burst up the middle last week didn't look like much on paper, but if you watch closely, you saw the vision and power that made him stand out in college. He's maturing, learning patience, and that growth is going to pay off. He's not going to be a breakout rookie star, but he's laying the groundwork for something real in the years to come. When you look at this entire draft class, though, there's one common theme: the lack of immediate production. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's noticeable. Most of these guys are still developing, waiting for their moment rather than taking over games right now. That brings us to the top of the draft, the first-round pick, Derek Harmon. Harmon entered the league with plenty of hype. Coming from a defensive line-rich class, selected 21st overall, expectations were sky-high. He was billed as a disruptive pass rusher, a stat sheet guy who could pile up sacks, pressures, and hits. But his season started slow, sidelined early with an injury. Since returning, he's played 6 games, recording 2 sacks, 6 pressures, and 13 tackles. On paper, those numbers don't jump off the page. But stats don't tell the full story. Inside the locker room and among coaches, Harmon is earning respect for something much less flashy, but just as valuable: stabilizing the run defense. The Steelers' run defense has struggled, no question. Yet in recent weeks, there's been visible improvement, and a lot of quiet credit is going to Harmon. He's not necessarily making all the tackles himself, but he's doing the dirty work, shedding blocks, sealing gaps, forcing runners to bounce outside where teammates can clean up. When an opposing running back looks upfield and sees that number 99 clogging the lane, he's thinking twice. And that kind of presence changes how opponents game plan. It's subtle, it's not glamorous, but it matters. Beyond the field, Harmon is showing maturity beyond his 22 years. He's vocal, he listens, he asks questions. He's constantly picking the brains of veterans like Cam Hayward, learning the nuances of the position. What stands out even more is how he interacts with the less celebrated guys, the backups, the depth players who don't get much spotlight. Harmon seeks them out, learns from their experiences, and applies it on the field. That's the kind of mindset that turns a promising rookie into a long-term cornerstone. So far, this rookie class hasn't delivered fireworks, but it's planted seeds. Each of these young men is going through the learning curve, finding where they fit, and slowly adding depth to the roster. It might not make headlines now, but these are the seasons that build the foundation for what's coming. The Steelers have always valued player development and long-term stability over quick flashes, and this group embodies that philosophy. You can sense that with a couple of off-seasons under their belt, a few more reps, and the right guidance, 2 or 3 of these rookies could pop in 2026 and turn into the kind of contributors that push this team forward. Now that we've gone through the rookies, let's shift our focus to what's coming up and the challenges that really define the Steelers right now. This next stretch of the season will tell us a lot, not just about where this team stands in the playoff race, but about who they are at their core. Every year, there's that one game that feels like a turning point, that one matchup that either confirms the progress or exposes what still needs fixing. And for Pittsburgh, this trip to Los Angeles might just be that moment. Fans are wondering whether the win over Indianapolis was a real breakthrough or just a lucky night when everything clicked. The truth? It's never that simple. Consistency has been the word floating around all season. The Steelers have shown flashes of brilliance. Moments when the defense swarms like the old Steel Curtain days and when the offense finds rhythm and balance. But those moments have come in bursts, not stretches. That's what separates a good team from a great one in this league. You can't just show up one Sunday and disappear the next. And facing the Chargers will be a test of exactly that, because this isn't the kind of opponent you can afford to sleepwalk against. Justin Herbert has been one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in football this season. He's not just throwing darts downfield, he's also beating teams with his legs. His combination of arm strength and mobility makes him a nightmare to defend, especially for a team still working on closing out games. The Steelers' defense, which dominated against Indianapolis, can't expect that same formula to work here. This is a quarterback who reads blitzes, who adjusts protections, who can buy time and hit targets deep. If the Steelers want to stay in this one, they've got to be disciplined. Edge containment, smart pursuit, and tackling fundamentals will matter more than highlight plays. What makes this challenge even tougher is the Chargers' renewed commitment to the run under Jim Harbaugh. Even without Najee Harris-Omar or Hampton in their backfield rotation, they still pound the ball and make defenses earn every stop. That means guys like Harmon, Yablak, and the interior linemen will be tested all night. This is the type of game where physicality in the trenches decides everything. You can talk about quarterbacks all you want, but if you can't win at the line of scrimmage, you're not winning in the NFL. And that's exactly what Pittsburgh needs to prove. They can control the line again. Offensively, it's been a strange ride. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been bad, but the chemistry between him and the wide receivers is still a work in progress. Last week's win masked a lot of those issues because the defense carried the day with takeaways. The truth is the offense never found its rhythm, and if the Steelers want to stay relevant in the playoff picture, that has to change. The running game vanished against the Colts. There were no real lanes for Jaylen Warren or Caleb Johnson, and without a consistent ground attack, the offense becomes one-dimensional. Rodgers can still sling it with the best of them, but when the defense knows what's coming, even he's limited. The wide receivers and tight ends also need to step up. There have been too many drops, too many missed routes, and not enough big plays. This isn't about heroics or spectacular catches. It's about precision. The Steelers' offense under Matt Canada used to rely on short passes and safe routes. But this group has the tools to stretch the field. They just haven't done it. Whether that's a play-calling issue or execution problem doesn't even matter anymore. At this point in the season, it's about results. Every rep, every possession has to be cleaner. The Steelers can't afford another game where the offense sputters for 3 quarters and hopes the defense bails them out again. Speaking of the defense, the big question everyone's asking is whether this unit really turned a corner or if last week was a fluke. I'm not ready to declare anything yet. The performance against Indianapolis was strong, no doubt, but it's one game. The real sign of growth comes when a team repeats that effort against better competition. That's what Los Angeles represents, a real measuring stick. The secondary looked sharper, the linebackers were attacking gaps instead of reacting, and the front 7 brought pressure from everywhere. But that's the thing about the NFL. The moment you relax, you get exposed. The Steelers can't afford to chase comfort right now. As Coach Tomlin loves to say, this is not about seeking comfort. It's about embracing the grind. Fans, players, even coaches all want that one performance that lets them exhale and say, okay, this team is back. But that's not how growth works. Progress in football isn't linear. You win one week, you learn the next, and the cycle continues. The Steelers aren't at the point where they can assume anything. They have to earn every inch, every drive, every win. What this team truly needs is stability, a stretch of games where the fundamentals show up every single week. Win or lose, play sharp football. Avoid the wild swings, the kind of collapses that make you hit every reset button in the building. The Steelers don't have to prove anything to outsiders, and they don't need to climb imaginary power rankings. What they need to do is keep improving. That's how real contenders separate themselves. It's not about the record in November. It's about being at your peak in January. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers after what could only be described as a blistering public swipe from one of the league's most fiery veterans. Aaron Charles Rodgers, the Pittsburgh Steelers seasoned quarterback, reportedly did not hold back in his latest commentary, unleashing a statement that has quickly become the talk of locker rooms and sports bars alike. If he wants respect, he better start practicing properly. Though Rodgers didn't name names, insiders suggest the comment was aimed at one of the younger Steelers players, whose inconsistency in practice and questionable on-field decisions have been quietly rubbing teammates the wrong way. Rodgers, known for his surgical precision on the field and his candid personality off it, has a history of speaking his mind, and this time seems no different. Sources close to the team say his words weren't just frustration. They were a call for accountability, a reminder that talent alone doesn't command respect in the locker room. The remark has sent waves across social media, sparking debates among fans and analysts. Some see Rodgers as a mentor pushing the next generation to rise to the occasion, while others argue that public criticism could fracture team chemistry. Either way, the statement adds fuel to the ongoing speculation about the Steelers' locker room dynamics this season. Are Rodgers' comments the spark that will ignite a renaissance in practice intensity, or a harbinger of tension in an already high-pressure environment? Rumors are also swirling that the unnamed target of Rodgers' criticism has responded quietly in team meetings, pledging to step up efforts during practice. Coaches, meanwhile, are reportedly walking a fine line, trying to channel Rodgers' intensity into motivation without letting it devolve into conflict. Analysts can't stop theorizing whether this is the beginning of a mentorship moment or just another headline-grabbing Rodgers outburst. One thing is certain. The Steelers are in the spotlight, and Rodgers' latest quip has ensured that all eyes will be on every practice, every throw, and every play. In a league where respect must be earned on and off the field, Rodgers has made it clear that words alone won't cut it. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.